What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Mood Lifters. Chris is hopping in. Grant is here. How are y'all doing today?
I'm tired, man. I'm not gonna front. I'm exhausted. It's been a really hectic week with finals, um, just working. But I'm refocusing. I'm recentering my attention, um, and I'm making plans to figure things out. And that's what we've been doing. And we're finally going to be making more progress. I got the job offer on Tuesday that I've been waiting for. So I get to start. I get to start all that lovely paperwork, and I get to go do the drug testing and the physical. And then after that, I get to start like 3 to 6 months worth of training. So I'm excited to do that and get into that industry. I was making a joke to my roommate. I was saying, I've always, when I was a kid, and even today, I'm still like a huge dinosaur nerd. And now I'm going to work for an oil company. I was like, dude, I get to work with dinosaurs.
It's so cool.
Yeah, let's go. But yeah, that's just kind of what I've been doing. I had some push this morning from Red the dog. She the second I opened my door, she was screaming, walk, let's go. So managed to take her for a walk. She had a big old smile on her face, and we just made it right in time for the podcast. So thank goodness for that.
Hell yeah, dude. Love to see the new job opportunity. That's so awesome. Like everything's coming. Remember at the beginning, like I mentioned to you before, remember at the beginning where you're like the financials are where the struggle's at, and now it's just coming at you full swing. And you're like, oh shit, I'm trying to juggle.
Yeah. No kidding, dude. No kidding.
Life is wild, man. It's so unpredictable.
It really is. It really is. I'm just I'm looking forward to it because I had some introspection when I was on my walk this morning, and I was thinking a lot about a few things. Let's put a pin in that. And let's talk to Chris a little bit, and then we can come back to what I was thinking about on this walk. Chris, how was your weekend, buddy? Or excuse me, your week?
Hey, no worries, Grant. I appreciate it. The week was okay. I got to hang out with some friends. I got to get to the gym a little bit. So overall, it was a solid week. I don't know if everyone knows. I think I mentioned it last week. I'm in Hawaii for like another 4 months, and like I don't have like furniture or anything. But like my friends here offered to like see if I wanted to go like half and half with them on like a new place here at the end of September, which would allow me to stay in Hawaii longer. So it's something that I'm toying around with the idea, but overall, I feel like it's been a low stress week, and I like that. I'm figuring some stuff out personally. I went to the gym, had a good session there, but I'm trying to figure out like the optimal time to go to the gym, because it's like, when I did go this week, it was like I went in there and it was like empty, and I was like, yes. And then as soon as I started, it was like 30 people all came in at the same time. And then I was like, all right, guys, because it's not a big gym. It's the apartment complex gym. So I'm just trying to figure out the optimal time on the days to be able to go in there and, just kind of be able to just to breeze through my workout without being, waiting in line for stuff.
Dude, I feel that. I'm always doing that. My gym, the gym that's right down the street from my place that I used to be a personal trainer at, it's so unpredictable because it's like you have college kids and high school kids. So they'll come at random times. They have like they have those half days sometimes out of the week I think it's on Wednesday or something. And it's just like jam packed in the gym. And I come in and like you would expect around like 2:00, chilling, quiet. Most gyms, not this one.
Yeah, it's like I have another gym I can go to, but it's like a 30-minute drive. And then I always have to balance it with, do I want to spend an hour of my day driving versus focusing on something else, because usually I don't have anything to do on that part of town. So it'd be like going there just for the gym. And so that's why I'd rather just stick to the 30-second drive down the road to, the apartment complex gym. But, that's first world problem. So it's not that big a deal.
I'll tell you guys how my day or my week is going. I got my workout sessions in for the Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. I was determined to get 4, and I got all 4. Yesterday was the hardest one because I was like, it's Friday, maybe I should kick back and all that. And I was thinking about it in like the future, how I'd feel, and like that euphoric feeling I get after an intense 2-hour session, and I'm just dripping in sweat. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I did it. I felt amazing after doing it. My workouts have been really good this week, but I feel like I haven't made enough progress on other aspects of my life with working on the business and building the community and focusing primarily on that. I got distracted with a lot of external stuff, sometimes a lot of social media. I'll sit there and I'll lose my train of thought, and I'll look and I'm like, wow, haven't got these things that I need to do done today. So I got to get out of the social media and get into that. So it's really easy to get distracted and really not be able to do things if you have your phone on hand. And especially, I'm creating content on social media, so I have to use it. So I wasn't as productive in other things, but luckily I've gotten my exercise down this week. So,
dude, that's awesome. I missed the very first part. Grant, what's been going on with you, man?
Oh, I was just saying, I got that job offer on Tuesday, so I've had the opportunity to do paperwork for that, and then I got to go do a physical and a drug test. It's not a guaranteed thing, but we've made a big leap as far as progress goes for it. And it was funny. I was telling Tony, I actually got the offer while I was in the middle of my final for my last class for university. So I'm officially done with university. I passed the class. I'm done. I get my degree. All I have to do is pay for it, and they'll send me the stupid piece of paper.
Dude, that's right. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was 6 years of of hardcore commitment, and a lot of times excuse me, a lot of times I really wasn't feeling it. A lot of kids from my high school called it senioritis, where you just stop giving a fuck about about the assignment. You're like, whatever. C's get degrees, C's get diplomas, C's get degrees. But I'm pretty sure I graduate with honors, so that's cool. And yeah, it was so weird that Tuesday. Like, as soon as I clicked submit on the final and I knew I'd gotten that job offer, it felt like I just like dropped a cape made out of rocks off of me. Like, so much stress was just dropped off, and then it was like, okay, now I get to go to 3 jobs and work that. So I went from having like no breathing room in the day to having like a little bit of wiggle room where I can breathe for like maybe an hour a day, and just being exhausted. But I'm making those steps, and we're going to be hopefully starting this new gig around the 28th of June. And yeah, I'm really busy. I've been, I'm trying the dating thing. That's something that's new to me. So, and that's about it for me, man. This past week has been hectic but interesting, and here we are.
Dude, congratulations, though. That's awesome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I mean, it sucks you're going to fail that drug test, but otherwise.
Man, I'll tell you right now, thank God video games don't show up in a drug test, dude. Holy crap. I would be screwed. So I was saying that I haven't really been exercising because I've just been so busy with work. I mean, luckily, one of the jobs is more physical. It's like a lot of movement, a lot of moving stuff around. It's a pizza gig, you gotta sit in front of a 400-degree oven, and you gotta move a lot, which is good. So I've been getting a little bit of exercise in every day in that regard. And then I had some help with Red the dog, and she was, crying at me this morning to take her for a walk. And I was like, okay, we have a little bit of time. Let's go get a walk in. And I got back like 10 minutes before the podcast was supposed to start. But I was on this walk, and I was thinking about all this stuff that's been happening and all this change as far as like my job world is going, because like we all have our different worlds that we exist in our day-to-day life, you know. We wake up and it's the me world where we like, okay, I gotta wake up, I gotta do my due diligence, I gotta brush my teeth, I gotta, you know, use the restroom, I gotta drink some water, I gotta take, you know, depending on who the person is, I gotta take my medication for the day.
Right.
You gotta get the ball rolling, and then you have to kind of like shift your focus away from the me world to, you know, depending on whatever day it is, it's like if you have a family, it's okay, I got to shift to the family world. Or if you got to go to work, you got to shift to the world or the work world. Or like other people refer to it as like a mask. And I was thinking about on this walk, I was like, oh man, it's weird because it's like I've been so focused on the work world that I haven't really been focusing on the me world these past couple of weeks. And it's really starting to affect me. Like my back has been killing me. My stress level's been really high, and it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, now that I can see the shift that, you know, the work world is going to get a little bit smaller with more value to it. And I'm saying, okay, now we can start focusing on the me again and start making more progress on me. And I think it was an interesting comparison, because it's like there are so many people in the world right now who do that exact thing, who focus on like that work world and totally completely neglect their me. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Creating the course, the Lift Your Morning Mood course, was exactly with this intent, where it's like, I argue, especially, you know, here in America, most of us work that 9 to 5. And I always say the most important parts of our day are when we rise and when we fall, essentially, when we go to sleep. And like, those are the parts of our day that we potentially have the most control over, because when you're in work mode, you're basically giving yourself to a company, for example. Whereas like in the morning and in the evening, we can grab a little pieces of those days or those parts of our day, and we can do things like we can do the 10 to 15 minutes of physical activity. We can sit down in a hot shower or a hot bath and just unwind and relax. And I really think that's super important for us to take care of ourselves in those parts of our day.
I also think it's important that you need to enjoy your day, right? So even though, you know, you're spending that 9 to 5 and you're working hardcore, right, at your job, you need to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy your job, you know, then you need to find another job, right? I know a lot of people are always afraid to move on because, you know, where they're at is what they know, you know, but don't be afraid to find something that makes you happy. I think in the last 3 years, I've had like 2 or 3 different jobs, mainly just because I tried something that wasn't a great fit, you know, and then I found something else and I moved on, you know, still making good money, you know, each time. But I'm finally at a place now where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like, I like this. Like, I can make this work. Like, I found recently I have a few more hours a day, like in the midday, to kind of do whatever I want, right? So I spent, you know, a couple days, you know, just going to the gym and working out. And I was like, oh, I like this. And then I spent a couple days, you know, just playing video games. And while that was fun, at the end of the day, I kind of had that, I didn't accomplish anything today, you know, kind of feeling. And I reached out to one of my coaches, and talking about like starting my own business, and you know, now that I'm here in Hawaii for another 4 months, like, you know, just delaying it further or starting it. And their advice was basically just start it, but then just do the things that you love doing, right? And then once you get back to Ohio, or, you know, if I stay here, whatever it is, then I can start doing the hard stuff. But the whole pressure of life and, you know, being able to feed yourself and then take care of your family and then your kids, like, that never goes away. So, you know, if anything, it just gets worse the older you get, you know, because there's more responsibility, more stuff on you. So, you know, you're going to have to just, I guess, learn to live with that stress, but at the same time, try to enjoy it.
I love that.
That does make sense. And I think something you mentioned about don't be afraid, I think it's a lot easier said than done, unfortunately. So many people are that exactly. they're afraid of change, even to the smallest minutia of their day, where change can cause like a spin out, a spiral, where it drops them down into a low point in their day or life or week or month or whatever the case may be. And that was something like even I was super afraid of change. Like back then, I was in that same exact vein. When I realized like, okay, I need to start looking for work, I had this thought in my mind where it was like, okay, well, because I only worked in like pizza jobs or delivery jobs, that's all I'm good for. That's all I'm worth. And then I kept running into situations where I was trying to branch out a little bit and trying to test the waters and, applying to these different jobs and then getting denied. And then I had this really bad mentality where I was like, I'd get a rejection letter or I'd get a rejection email, and something in my brain would say, you see, you wasted your time. That's all you're good for is flipping pizzas and driving them to people's doors. Like that's all you're worth. That's know your lane, you piece of shit. And that was what my mentality was back then. And then now that I've been making, this 116 pounds lost progress, and I'm shifting my mental about me and my worldview, and just trying to be a better person. It's like, okay, well now like this job offer I got, I'm like, it's some of it's driving, but there's also like a whole new world that I'm going to have to learn about and be introduced into. And the prospect of change, like inside me, like, yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm a little scared of like what the possibility is going to be as far as, am I going to be good at it? How easily can I fuck something up? And I'm sure a lot of people have that same exact mentality of like, I don't want to fuck something up. But I'm also really excited. And I think that's a really important approach for a lot of people to adopt, but it's easier said than done. I made a post in the Mood Lifters Facebook group a couple of weeks ago when I was hitting the gym more frequently, and I was super sweaty, and I captioned the post. I think I've made a callback to it a couple episodes ago as well, was like, get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that's really something I'm trying to just grab by the horns and really adopt into myself.
Dude, I want to say something about that. Getting this certification in precision nutrition, one of the things that I learned about it is like helping people change their habits is like the primary foundation to a more active lifestyle. And you got to ask your clients how ready, willing, and able are they to change, and for them to be honest. I usually like a scale 1 to 10. You can't use 7. Basically, let me know how much you're willing to change. If you're not willing to change that much, micro steps, very small micro steps. And going about this process, I remember one of our first sit down calls with Chris, when we started talking about, what your goals were and stuff like that, there were some things that you could do and some things that you did not want to do at this moment in time. And you're like, maybe, ease back on the sodas, like we mentioned. And I was like, yeah, take it small, over time. And that at the beginning was like the things that you needed to do. And obviously over time, you're going to be more willing to change when you start to see more results. So I think it's super important to like analyze and see if you have a fear of getting into this, new opportunity of improving your mental health through physical activity. Like, let's say, what if it doesn't work out? Start small, 5-minute increments, 10-minute increments, 15-minute increments of physical activity, and then make small adjustments to your nutrition over time. That's the most important thing for people that are dealing with depression, with anxiety, and other stressors in their lives. Is like, a lot of us look at, we're like, oh, we got all this stuff going on in our lives, but we're unhappy with our lives. What micro steps can we do to change that? And over time, you're going to get comfortable. And you're going to realize that you have a lot of mental space to take initiative towards certain things that you want to change in your life. But at first, we need to take those small steps to change.
Yeah. And, small steps are, I think, the key to the whole process, right? Because like I think you mentioned last week, it was even when I first started, this whole journey, like back in November, it was something small or bad would happen, like very, very minute. and then it would just tumbleweed effect into everything else and then just amplify and blow up. And I had to start small with what I could control and what I couldn't control on the mental health side. And then, once you get through a lot of that, and then you kind of realize, and, and then, as you're trying to make, progress on the diet side, then it became a lot easier. And I finally got to the point where I didn't have to take like the antidepressants anymore. I didn't have to, go see like doctors regularly. I wasn't having all these deprecating thoughts and whatnot. And now I'm able to, I have a lot more free time. I'm not taking those midday naps, and I'm able to, I guess, just do whatever I want to with my life. And now the next step for me is the diet and the weight loss, and go a little more hardcore into that than what I've been doing before. And I think I'm going to incorporate part of my workout routine that I mentioned before is more outdoors, hiking, being around nature, and that's going to help both in the mental health side and in the exercise side. Because I don't know, man, every time I do a hike here in Hawaii, it's like the next day I just can't move. I'm just overly sore and exhausted.
Hopefully sooner it's like you'll be able to recover a lot quicker. You're like, okay, I'm feeling a lot better, as you continue to make progress, get that consistency and lose weight. And you guys have probably noticed too, is like, there's going to be certain aspects of people that are on their journey, their mental health journey. Some of them have the goals to lose quite a bit of weight. And Chris, like, once you got your mindset to a certain level, and now you're going and you're committed towards the exercise progress, I think you're going to see their best results going forward, like in weight loss. The mindset is like, we went from here all the way up here. So like, right, we're up here. Now it's time to add a little bit more physical activity, make some progress from there. And you'll notice the weight loss start coming down a lot more quickly. And sometimes, you got to go through that process for you to, be ready and willing and able to change to get in there. And watching you guys all make that progress is pretty awesome to see. And there are certain things for me where it's like, I'm not ready and willing and able to change. And I'll be honest with you, when I first started my, the Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, I had a lot of anxiety, and I was like, oh, I want to, like, I was telling myself, oh yeah, I can definitely do 3 days out of the week, this kind of stuff. But then obviously the first week or so, I got my ass kicked, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm going to compromise and not do much of it. When I was considering that, I was being hard on myself as a result of that. But then I was like, no, you know what? We're going to take it small and then add days over time. And eventually now I got my 4 workout days in. And sometimes there's just certain aspects of our life that we have to take those small steps, to make those changes over time. And like I mentioned before, it's like, if you pursue 1% growth every day for 100 days, you're 100% better than where you started. And it's just making those little small micro steps. There's going to be situations where people have these epiphany phases where a doctor is like, let me be honest with you. You're in a bad position. You need to drop weight. You need to do this. You need to do that because it's life-threatening. Those epiphany people make significant changes over time. The fact that you're aware of the situation, and we're like, okay, make those micro steps. You're not going to get to that point. You're not going to get to you don't need to get an epiphany phase, because you're just taking it step by step, the 1% growth every day. And sometimes that's how you change habits, completely change how things are. You could do things to change your environment as well, where you live, take away distractions and stuff. But like the most important things, especially with habit building, is like the small steps, and then modifying your environment to support your goals, essentially. So.
Well, one thing I do like to see is the community and what they're also doing. Have you guys really seen anything in the community, anything really popping out from what people are doing?
I just like the fact that people are mentioning that they're lifting their mood. Sometimes I'll get messages and stuff, and I really encourage everyone in the Facebook group to post. I am working towards getting more people in the group, and I know that with people seeing a lot more results, they're going to be more comfortable. A lot more results from other people, they're going to be a lot more comfortable talking. And a lot of people may assume that they have nothing to speak about, but listen, like, I'm still learning stuff every day about physical activity and exercise and stuff. And it's not only from like a scientific perspective, but just like what works for people, because everyone's different. Everyone has their different experiences. Chris, you told me like things that work really well for you, and I've never really thought of it in that perspective. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I can actually write about that and talk about that. I've actually just recently posted an exercise motivation video, and I was talking about, when you told me you put on your gloves and it's Gym Chris, like it's time to go work out. Like that whole thing is like it works. It really works. And that kind of stuff people need to know about. And it's very practical. It's not anything that's like you could probably find some evidence to support that, but like the practicality is where the magic is at, especially on your weight loss journey, because there's so many complexities in regards to our lives, in regards to genetics and all that stuff. So just finding what works best for you is where you're going to see the best results. I can give suggestions and stuff, but obviously everyone's going to have their own different experiences towards that.
Right. 100% agree. Grant, do you do anything that's like what I do with like what Tony just mentioned, Gym Chris, where once I put on the workout gloves, even if I don't need the gloves, it just helps you get in that right mindset?
That's a good question. It's typically if anything really gets me in the mood to like do the workout or get moving, it's putting my shoes on.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a shoe guy. I don't like wearing shoes. I'm comfortable in just like socks and sandals and just like I'm a comfortable guy. I just like to be like ready to chill and relax.
We're not going to just blow past the fact that you just said socks and sandals.
Dude, I don't like my feet getting dirty. I want the socks to get dirty instead of my feet. So I wear socks with my sandals.
Oh, Grant. Yeah. It reminds me so much of the TV show, I think it was Rocket Power growing up, where they call them shoebies, something like that. Where
Dude, I'm 100% a shoebie. Absolutely. I'm a shoebie proud, dude.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I'm sorry. Go on.
But yeah, no, it's just like putting my shoes on. It's like when I know I gotta go for a good walk, it's like, okay, I don't want to wear my sandals for this walk. Sometimes I do wear my sandals for a walk where it's like
with socks.
With socks, just because I like the freedom of like not having my feet being constrained in my shoes. But when it's like most of the time, it's like I have to be very self-motivating in that regard, because it's like me and my roommate will sometimes be very demotivated. Like he's focused on other things. He's focused on work. He's focused on his girlfriend. He's focused on playing freaking World of Warcraft. And it's like, hey, let's go. Like, let's go hit the gym. Let's go put the shoes on. And then it's like, get in the car and go, get moving. But yeah, I think just my shoes, just putting the shoes on.
I look at those as like exercise triggers, I guess you can say. And I think Red, the dog, is also one of those. So when you open it's like a trigger to you for you to work out, go exercise.
100%. That's a good one. I didn't even think about Red, but yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say no when you open the door and she's sitting there wagging her tail and she's like, and then you're like, okay, let me put my socks on. You put the socks on, and she jumps up on the bed. She's like, I want to go for a walk.
I'll tell you guys what I do sometimes is like I have the Google Calendar up and I just put my workout in, like in the Google Calendar. This is the time I'm going to work out. I'll put it like a 30-minute timer. It's like you have 30 minutes like before your workout session or whatever. I'll get a notification of that. And sometimes timers like that help. In addition to that, like I was mentioning to you guys about yesterday, just getting motivated to get into the Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. I had to put my my gi, my Jiu-Jitsu gi right here, so that when I was working on the computer and I would turn around, I would see it constantly. And I'm like, okay, I got to go work out. Like I'm leaving that there for a reason, so that it initiates that workout session. And then having it there for like 15, 20 minutes, I then committed to the workout session. I was like, okay, this is here. It's in my face. The workout clothes are in my face. I need to do it. And that helps me a lot too. And being aware of these kind of things is, once you build that self-awareness, you can basically hack your motivation in that regard. As weird as it sounds, is like if I have a dumbbell sitting right here, right next to me, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do some curls right here, get a workout in. If I'm not too motivated to go to the gym, there's always something around me for me to do some sort of physical activity.
Yeah, dude. Like one thing I have been looking forward to is trying to get into some sort of MMA. I have like, just been looking up like different, YouTube videos and different things to be like, hey, what's better? Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, karate, Taekwondo. Like there's a couple other ones I was looking up. But no, I was trying to figure out which one would be the easiest on my body, because it's like, even though I still feel like a superhero sometimes, I also have to understand my body is broken, right? I'm 100% disabled for a reason, and I can't be just in there, back slamming guys. But I would like, I think, to get into that a lot more. And here, while in Hawaii, I can't really get into that, mainly because it's like stupid expensive here. But when you go to Ohio, I was looking at prices, and I was like, it's not too bad. It's very reasonable, to do.
Those workouts are fun, man. You burn a lot of calories.
Right? Dude, I don't know, man. My thing is, every time I've tried it before, it was just like, I was like, hey man, like, look, you get me an arm bar or arm lock or something, I was like, you win. I was like, just don't, right? Because like I have really bad shoulders, I had surgeries, blah blah. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, and then they'll go straight for it, And I was like, come on, is that really like worth, like, I don't know, your ego, your pride to be like, oh, I won, you know what I mean? Get out of here,
Yeah, you're like, don't do this because I'm prone to injury. And they're like, okay, yes,
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 yes, do it, yes. Right? You ever thought about getting punched in the face for fun?
I thought of punching other people in the face for fun, that's for sure. When I lived in Oregon, one of my buddies up there, he was super into MMA and grappling, and he, every once in a while, him and another buddy of mine would go out in the backyard, throw on boxing gloves, and just start swinging. So, but that was about as far as I ever got to like any kind of practice fighting. Beyond, as a kid, me and my little brother, he's less than a year younger than me, so very commonly would we end up like fighting for dominance, like having kaiju battles. We're big guys, and just my roommate, who was friends with us back in the day, he would tell you, times where me and my brother would just be punching each other in the face, blow for blow, just to pass the time. But that was more like untrained, just primal guerrilla fighting. So no technique or anything.
Dude said kaiju battles. I was like, damn.
Our room definitely had some holes in the wall from us just throwing each other into it and stuff. And yeah, a lot of stuff would get broken.
That's hilarious. Your poor house.
Yeah. It got put out of its misery in those house fires a couple years ago. But,
the evidence is gone.
Yeah, 100%. So nothing can be proved. So, except Dill does have he does have one miscolored tooth, because I bashed that out of his face at one point when I was a kid. But, yeah, no, just nothing that's been like trained or technique based, that's for sure. But I've kind of been contemplating, like, it'd be really cool to like get into like judo and stuff. But I was also thinking like, let's put a pin in that once until our body's more up to speed for it. So more focusing on just getting our steps in and getting some more progress on the weight loss, and that's the goal for now.
Yeah, you definitely, the impact is killer on that. You can definitely take it, it doesn't matter what you do with the exercise, it's always going to constantly change. You're going to find some different interests. And I think that going back to that ready, willing, and able type of thing, it's like, what are you ready, willing, able to do right now? Okay, some lifting weights and stuff. And then maybe you can look back and analyze down the line. You're like, I'm ready to take the next step and get into the martial arts. There's like not one best exercise or one best workout. You just got to find which one works best for you.
This reminds me of a video I watched there the other day, and it was about who's the guy that runs Family Feud?
Harvey?
Yeah. Steve, is it Steve Harvey?
Yeah,
Steve Harvey. So he was talking, and he was basically talking about how you got to stand up to the bullies in your life, whether that's your job or, an abusive spouse or partner or, just like an actual, bully, or, whatever it is. He said, you got to stand up to the bullies in your life. And he said, I'll never forget what my grandma told me. He's like, God bless this woman. He's like, I got beat up at school one day or on the way home from school. And I guess like he got throttled hard. And he's like, he came home crying, and, his grandma was like, boy, like, what's wrong? And he told her, he's like, oh, I got beat up. And she's like, well, you got to go stand up to him. You got to go fight him. Otherwise you'll regret it and you'll fear him for the rest of your life. And he's like, he's so much bigger than me, I can't do it. And she's like, go get a stick. and and he's like, I'll tell you what, that bully never bothered me again after that. But I think that just kind of, goes into the whole, whether it's like physically fighting or, mentally fighting, you can't let it control you. You can't let the emotional eating control you. You can't let the stress of like your work and your job control you. It's all about, what's up here. You know what I mean?
I think the most important thing is to work on that mental health primarily over everything. It's going back to that thing as a whole, just, striving to work towards something and improving your mental health. You'll probably be able to handle more stressors. You'll probably be able to be like, okay, you know what? This initially used to scare me, but now I'm going to get after it and see what happens. And then something good happens out of it. And I just think all in all, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. They're both intertwined. And it's like, focus on that. That's like the foundation. And then you can kind of work towards everything else.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Like I said, it's easy to say that, it's hard to execute upon it, especially when you don't know where to go. You don't know how to do it. When you have other stressors in your life, the financial struggles and all that stuff. But we have to do some parts of it, at least, something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be something so small,
Yeah, I'm a very analytical person. I don't know about you, Grant, but like I like to have a plan. I like to have everything planned out well in advance and have all my ducks in a line. And this is with anything, right? Whether it's me running a gaming session with my friends, me going wanting to work out, go to the gym, me wanting to diet and exercise, or me wanting to start a business. It's like I like to have everything fully planned out in a line, ready to go, step by step by step by step, fully detailed. And while I think it's good to have a plan, you just got to start, right? You just got to go, because the second you start, something's going to happen that you didn't think about before. Something's going to come up, and then you're going to have to adjust the plan, and then you got to redo the whole plan. And so it's, use the plan as like a baseline, right? It's like, we know what we need to do to lose weight, proper diet, exercise, boom, go home, right? That's it. But it's like, if we use that as a baseline, and then you just go and you start taking the small steps and be like, hey, you know what? I did really well today, but I am really craving that soda. So you know what? Adjust the plan a little bit. Have just a little bit of a soda, or maybe just drink one soda. Where it's like, okay, well, I broke down and ended up eating, all of Buffalo Wild Wings, the entire restaurant, right? And and it's like, all right, well then just adjust the plan further. Go tomorrow. It's like, it's not the end of the world. But if you never start, then you can never have the opportunity to adjust the plan, right? You can plan all you want, but if you never take that step, then what's it matter, right?
Yeah, you can't learn to be flexible if all you can be is rigid.
Right.
One thing I got to say to that, like, Chris, it's like a lot of entrepreneurial talk, especially when you're starting your own business, is momentum, and you have to forcefully generate that. And it's one of those things where, building a business has helped my mindset a lot, where it's like, there's like this next step that's very, like, for me to be fearful of this change to get to this next step. But then, like, it helps me analyze that, in that when I feel that initial fear, that tells me to take action. Yeah. But like that is, it's hard to explain, and it's hard to get to for some people, because when they're fearful of making adjustments, like, what if things don't go according to plan? The negative thoughts come in, especially with depression. It's very hard. But it's like, if you feel that initial bout of fear, where it's like, I don't want to go into that gym because it could be too crowded or anything like that, we have to find a way for us to just be like, do it, just do it. Screw what your negative thoughts are saying. The exercise trigger, put your keys in the ignition, turn on the car, drive straight to the gym, whatever you need to do when you feel that initial bout of fear. And most of the time it's that fear of change or fear of judgment that really holds us back. But if we're able to kind of take that fear and just take it and turn it into some sort of action, and you might be sitting there driving to the gym. You're like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is crazy. This is insane. I don't really do this before. But then you realize it's not as bad as you thought. You're like, oh, maybe I can do this more often. And even if you have to start by going like once a week, do some, go for a walk on the other days, you can eventually turn that to twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, And it all starts with that small step, that first step.
Yeah, it's like for me, this past week when I did go to the gym the first time, for the first day I went to the gym, I didn't want to go, right? I had some free time and I was like, might as well, right? I need to get this going again. Like let's do it. So I went to the gym. I pulled up to the gym, like I was trying to listen to music on the way over. I wasn't like motivated, I wasn't pumped up. I got into the gym. It's like I said, 2 or 3 people, like ideal conditions. I got all ready and I was still just but then as soon as I started drinking that pre-workout, then it started kicking in a little bit and I was like, okay, all right, yeah, I can do this. And then I started getting amped up and ready to go. So it's like, but I knew I would have that feeling once I drank the pre-workout anyway. So I just had to force myself to get to that point, and then it's like, all right, well, if worse comes to worse and I drank the pre-workout and then I had a bad gym session where it was just a half-ass session, or I just didn't enjoy it, and I didn't lift as much as I could have, didn't push myself harder. At least I was still in there doing it, because that all is better than just sitting on the couch anyway.
Damn right. Did you mean this pre-workout? I don't know if you're gonna see it right here.
Catalyst.
I keep it on
that
me.
Is...
I've been bringing it to my gym, and people are like, if you guys want to sample it, you guys can try it out, and it's been working really well. People like it a lot, so the flavor is pretty good. So
that is the pre-workout. I mean, only one I take.
But yeah, with like motivation too, is like that whole thing. It's not a one, like it fluctuates constantly throughout the day. Certain things that attack us. Certain thoughts. Certain events that'll occur. And we're like, oh man, now I'm not motivated to work out because this thing happened. But then you look ahead of time, or you look towards the future, like I mentioned at the beginning of this. It's like that feeling post-workout. You feel amazing after that workout session, regardless of how short it is, regardless of how much time you have. You got some in and you feel a lot better over time as a result of it. It's like, remember that feeling and chase that feeling every time. And those kind of things help me get that motivation. Like even usually on the weekends, like, I'm sitting on the computer doing some extra work and stuff. I'm not motivated to go work out, but sometimes I'll just like, what helps me a lot is, put on my gym clothes and then just go for a drive outside. Even if I'm not ready right now, go for a drive, get something from, I don't know, gas station, or get something from grocery store. And that kind of stuff, being outdoors, provides some sort of incentive and motivation for me to get into the gym afterwards. Cause I'm like, I went outside today. Now it's time to go outside some more and get into the gym. And those kind of things always help me. So,
something else I wanted to bring up, or see what you guys thought of this. I know, like right now, a lot of stress, or at least a lot of my stress, used to come from political stuff, right? Like I follow political stuff closely. I like the politics of it, but it's something, once I realized, this is what was happening, then I stopped getting stressed out about it so much, because it was, like you have, one side, this, like your side, and they're like blah blah blah, the other side's the enemy and they're the devil and we're the best. And then it's like when you're and you're like, yeah, and you get all angry, and then it's like, all right, well then you look at the other side, and the side's like blah blah blah, we're the best, the other side's the devil, and you're like, no, that's not true, I'm not the devil, and then you get all angry at the other side, you know what I mean? And it's just, and then like I followed like these YouTubers and these other people who would talk about the news, and they would give their opinions and stuff like that. And then I realized it's all just clout chasing, right? It's everyone's opinion like change on a regular basis. Like I'd literally like feel like watching real time as like a YouTuber I would watch for like news coverage and stuff like that. It was like hey, I'm going to interview this person. I think they're a victim. They're so cool and blah, blah. And then it's like a month later, they're like, that person's the devil. Look at how best, you know what I mean? And I realized it's just clout chasing. Like their opinion, I mean, their opinions change. They're all for outrage because outrage gets views and it gets, it helps share their content and it helps them get paid and, blah, blah. And I realized like the news outlets do the same thing and everything else. And I'm not, saying politics one way or the other, whatever you want to believe, but, it's just, once I realized that, I stopped taking it so seriously. And when I stopped taking it so seriously, I stopped taking other people's opinions and viewpoints so seriously. Like one of my best friends, his viewpoint is polar opposite of mine, right? Like he's far one side, I'm far the other side, as far as like our opinions go, but we're still friends and everything. And we're able to joke about the different stuff and have fun with it and whatnot, because I just stopped caring. And I'm not caring about like the actual issues and whatnot, but just, you know what I mean? Like I stopped getting fired up, and I think that also really helped my mental health. I don't know if that resonates with you guys at all.
That resonates a lot because I mean it's especially today. It's like it's very chaotic in that, and a lot of it is it's marketed to us. And I kind of look at it in that perspective. I'm like, what are they selling me? What are they trying to sell me? And that helps with my sanity a lot. I look at it like this. So it's like, these are these political viewpoints and stuff. And as I mentioned to you guys before, I'm very libertarian with my beliefs. And it's like, if I can go and be successful and be wealthy, the issues that I want to focus on that they're not focusing on, I'm going to focus on and I'm going to take care of. And a lot of people, I have some friends that are like, you should be focusing on these issues because we need them to do this. And it's like, they are marketing it for votes. And sometimes the things that they say that they want to do, they do the exact opposite. So why would I be all in on that when I can just focus on building up, my wealth or building up my community around me and really helping them instead of like worrying about everything that they're not doing. I can build, I can help my immediate family. I can help the community around me. I can do this. I can do that. My thing is like fitness for mental health. There are people with various political views that, deal with depression and anxiety and stuff. I don't care what political views you guys have. I actually like those kind of discussions if we get sit down with polar opposite views and not scream at each other. And just here's my point of view. Here's my point of view. That's intelligent, high IQ discussion. Like that's the discussion I would rather hear from different views, because that's helped me change my mind about certain things. But in this world right now, it's not like that. It's like, rah, 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 all this noise and stuff. And ultimately, like I said, like the fitness for mental health stuff, I'm focusing primarily on that because that's going to benefit the lives of a lot of people around us. And then let's say, for example, these people get the confidence to be in, politicians and work towards and go into politics and things like that. And they actually benefit the world from doing so. I did my job. I'm good. Like,
Yeah, dude, 100%. And I smiled because you said, you want to sit down and have like these intelligent conversations. And my mind immediately went to the fact that in the past on this show, we've talked about putting watermelon on burgers and chocolate on pizza. and it's like that.
Okay, we can have some of that. We can have some, but it's also, we can definitely have some intelligent conversations. We can definitely talk about watermelon on a burger.
Yeah, Grant.
Yeah. Milk before the cereal or cereal before the milk?
You got to put the cereal in and then the milk because you get more cereal that way.
Yes. That's the best response there. If I heard somebody say milk before the cereal, they're psychotic.
Which way do you go, Grant?
Monster.
You're a monster.
That's a political issue in itself. I feel like I really feel like that those kind of discussions are like a thing that it has, opposing views have to happen, or else we're just in our little bubbles, and that's where we're just seeing a lot of people in their bubbles, like talking in their bubbles, and it's like, oh, if you go over here, they're gonna have some discussion. People don't want to look like idiots, because with politics, it's like that. I read it in like Robert Greene's Law of Human Nature book, right in the corner over there. He's like, with political views, everyone thinks that their view is right, and everyone else thinks that the opposing view is not educated. And I'm like, that's such a good point. Like, you'll sit on one side and you'll be like, oh, they're stupid, right? They're dumb. They don't know what they're talking about. But they're gonna have their beliefs based on their upbringing, based on a lot of experiences they had in their life. those kind of things change. And as culture changes around us too, that influences our decision to change in different ways. And it's like, it's so complex, but it's so important to sit down and have these conversations and not have this game where it's like, I'm right and you're wrong type of thing. It's like, here's my point of view. And then they challenge it and vice versa. And I think that's so important, but when are we going to get that? And you know, what's crazy to me too, is like, I don't know where people say, you know, think of Joe Rogan, for example, but Joe Rogan, like, I don't agree with everything he says, but the fact that he can get people on with opposing views and have a conversation for a long time is pretty amazing to me. It's mind blowing that he's like the more credible source in this kind of like the political field now compared to everyone else. That's kind of sad. Mm-hmm. The dude that's like talking about, you know, usually talks about this elk meat. He's the guy that you want to listen to. It's so absurd.
Dude, yeah, I find it amazing that, like, I think there was a thing I saw like the other week, and it was like Joe Rogan has more views or whatever than like a lot of the major news networks like CNN, MSNBC, Fox, you know, whatever.
So funny, bro.
And it's just like everyone's like the news media is like freaking out about it. So like, he's not an expert. And I'm like, yeah, but he's gained their trust, right? Like that's the whole point, is he has conversations with people that are like polar opposites. Like, hey, I'm a flat earther. He talks to that guy. He's like, hey, I'm a, you know, scientist that's, you know, been to space or whatever. You know, he talks to that guy. Like, it's, you know, he does the whole spectrum.
And it's so funny when he has his own viewpoint and he's asking like the person that he's interviewing questions and stuff. And then he's like, no, like, we got to get back on this. Like, he tries to get him back, like, where he's like, his beliefs, like he wants like a validation of his beliefs, which is entirely normal. That's like a human thing, you know? And like, it's so entertaining to watch because some of the stuff he'll say, like, I don't even, like I mentioned, I don't agree with whatsoever, but it's entertaining and I can understand it based on his experiences and stuff. And like that whole thing too is like, yeah, they'll have somebody on the show and it's like, no, you know, I hate this guy, you know, the internet said this thing about this guy, I'm not going to listen to him. And it's like, I'll sit down and listen to this guy. He seems a little bit more, from what I've heard, he seems a little crazy, but I'm going to listen to him. And then it's like, oh, he's not so crazy after all. Media companies talking, you know, smack about this person. It's like the complete opposite of what the person is saying, or it's over exaggerated, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So
the internet lied.
The internet lied to me? That's absurd.
I think the reason why Joe Rogan has such a high level of following is because he establishes his credibility in the fact that he's willing to admit that he doesn't know jack shit about something.
It's facts.
He very commonly will say, when he brings in a guest to talk about something, he'll say, I don't know shit about this. Like, tell me what you know.
Yeah.
It's because he's hungry to hear what these people have to say, and because he's such an open book, but he's also willing to say, like, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. I just like to eat elk meat and smoke weed.
It's that whole thing too. He's like when you kind of look at it from this overarching view, where it's like he acts like a kid that wants to just learn something. He's like, tell me what you could tell me about this topic. And it's like, that's literally his show. And the fact that it's amusing to me that it's like that. And I think that's so important to understand because that's how it should be. That's how it should be with these shows. So I can tell you guys information based on my beliefs about certain topics, but then somebody else with a lot more credibility than me could say, oh yeah, I've heard about this. And I'm like, oh, tell me more. That kind of interest and that kind of intrigue is so important to have on your shows and stuff like that. And especially now, like we're talking about the whole outrage thing about certain podcasts and stuff too, where it's like they will only get people on the show that support their beliefs. You know, and then what, like, oh yeah, this validates it. People are shitty people. And it's like, what about the other person's point of view, you know, based on a certain scenario, a certain situation, and like listening to that, it might sting, it might hurt some of the things that they say, but it's important to consider where they got this information from, you know, is it credible, you know, all this stuff. And I look at it like this, where it's like more the complexity of like critical thinking comes with from various fields. Like if somebody has an economics background, they're going to have a different take on somebody that has an engineering background. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody that has a fitness background is going to have a different take compared to the other two. And it's important to have the diversity of different takes from different people with different opposing beliefs for you to get a well-rounded look at the world.
Dude, 100%.
Politics and podcasts aside, you guys want to talk about anything else, or we want to finish up? Or
I'm good.
I'm whatever you guys want to do. I'd like to spend time with you.
oh no. Well,
you're my only friends.
Oh, we know that's not true.
Y'all are my friends, my two friends. But for real though, guys, you know, that's what our Facebook group is here for. Like some of us, we don't know each other in person. We've never sat down and have physical conversation, you know, one-on-one with each other. But the fact that we can be in this group and really lift each other up is so important. And being able to feel comfortable in a community like that is everything. And with that, I just wanted to say, you know, so far, what are we, 11 episodes in? I want to thank you guys for watching, even if you're not like watching it live. I get people messaging me after the fact saying, oh yeah, I watched this clip and it was really interesting. And I really appreciate it. And I hope that over time we start to add a little bit more to this, in that, you know, we can provide so much value to a ton of people that are on their exercise for mental health journey, and they feel comfortable and they feel welcome in our environment as well.
Dude, I agree 100%.
All right, well, let's conclude this. And if you guys want to talk afterwards, we can. But I just want to thank you all for watching the Mood Lifters podcast, episode 11. Grant, take it away.
You got it, buddy. We here at the Mood Lifters only got one question to ask. Have you lifted your mood today?
Please do. I am going to, after I get a nice lunch and then a workout probably a couple hours after. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll definitely see you in the next one.
Take care, guys.